Hi there, I'm Mike McKee. I'm the State Director for Florida Science Olympiad, and I would like to thank you for helping out at the Science Olympiad State Tournament that we've got here at the University of Central Florida. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a bunch of slides here, and they're broken up into several parts that will be relevant to different supervisors and assistants depending on the job that they're doing. So there's an engineering section. So if you're doing an engineering event, you only need to watch that. If you're doing a lab-based event or research-based event, I've got a different section. And then I also have a scoring video. That's why there's these different videos that are online. This first part is just about the background of Science Olympiad. If you have not participated in Science Olympiad, it might help to know the structure. Basically, it started in 1983 by Gerard Putz and Jack Cairns, and it was designed as a parallel to sporting competitions and to receive the same kind of recognition that students do in sports. It's very large now. It includes almost all the states, and Florida is in the top 10. It is a science competition for middle and high school students, and we also have an elementary competition, that in the teams compete in teams in groups of 15 students, and it's led by a single teacher. So they come and compete in 23 different events. So the teams do pay a registration fee to come to the competition. This gets them first to a regional competition and then on to a state competition depending on how well they do. You're going to see on the registration materials that there are two divisions that we've got: a B event, which is the middle school, and then we've got C events and C teams, by the way, that are high school. So there will be team numbers that either start with B or start with C, and so this just references whether they're a middle or high school. And in total, for each of these competitions, there are 23 different events that are in physics, chemistry, biology, earth-space science, and engineering. So we have our state tournament on March 21st at UCF, and the national competition this year is hosted at the University of Nebraska in March 15, 16, 2015. So here's the list of events, and you'll recognize the one that you're doing. Basically, there are either pre-build engineering events like air trajectory, bottle rocket, bridge building. There are lab-based events that are bioprocess, can't judge. So in these cases, the students come in and will compete and do an event that is 50 minutes long, and they'll have to complete a lab. They've got an activity to do. And so the event supervisor will be responsible for gathering the materials, writing up the specific activity in accordance to the rules, and then running it on the day of the competition. And then there are research-based events like Dynamic Planet, Disease Detectives. So these are ones in which students oftentimes can bring in resource materials, and they can then reference those resource materials and they'll answer questions. So in essence, it's a test. I would like even the test items to be as hands-on as possible. Solar system, if you had a planetarium, you could bring that in. Road Scholar is an event in which they are using map reading skills. So sort of cuts across a wide range of areas and activities that they do. So here's the high school events. There's some overlap with the middle school events, such as air trajectory, anatomy and physiology, but there's also differences like bungee drop, and they also have got lab, research, and engineering-based events. So the rules, you will have a copy of the rules that are online and posted. I've sent you the link and a password to be able to download the rules. If you can't get that, email me. But in every single case, the rules take precedent. The rule sheet is what matters. There could be some contradictory things, like, for example, in a spreadsheet that the nationals create, where those were created after the fact, referencing the rules, but there could be an error that's in there. So the rules themselves always take precedence. Make sure you read over the rules and understand them very well. The students will have been studying that. For example, in Robocross, we've made a major modification to that. So you want to make sure if you're running robocross that you go in and take a look at that. But the students will know these very well. So here's an example of the rules. This is from forensics a few years ago, but it still is relevant. There are bolded items that are in here, and these are things that have been changed from previous years. It's not that we're trying to reference this or bring emphasis to it. It's just that it was a change from last year, and we want that to be pointed out to the teams. There will be things that are allowed, and so students may bring, but they do not have to, this 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper with handwritten notes. This is an old one, so we really have gone to through ring binders on everything. But you want to reference this within the rules. What the event supervisors should bring or must bring. And if you deviate from this, then I need to know so that we can post a clarification. And then, of course, there's a scoring section. So you want to make sure that you follow the scoring parameters for each of the events so that they know what to expect and they've been preparing for this. And the scoring is really what defines the important parts of the rules. So for copies, make sure you send me all copies by March 13th so that if you need me to make copies, I will go ahead and do that. I also, even if you're making the copies, I want you to still send me the copies of the test and the answer sheets just in case. So I've got an archive of that. If you are making color copies and you're asking for reimbursement, send the color copies to me because I can make those very cheaply. If you take it to FedEx or FedEx or any other place, very expensive. So we want to try to conserve on the costs on that. And also make sure you go on to the national website at soinc.org and check out the resources that are available there, because they have the resources that are relevant to your event. So you'll go in and find your specific event, like if it's robocross.